Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70 Millimeter, finally a podcast about movies. Each week, I'm joined by famous artist Danny Haas.
Made me really want pizza.
And writer, poet Proto.
When Tarantino is thinking of a new movie, he has just a vision board of just like different feet.
Later in this episode, we're focusing on the beloved My Neighbor Totoro. Enjoy. Probably by the time this episode posts, Proto will have done potentially a live stream on our 70mm IG account. Do you believe?
Putting his feet to the fire right now.
You want to talk about it? How it went? How it felt for you to do a live IG video stream on our account?
It felt really good. I love the live format. I love the spontaneity of it all. I have a history as an improv actor, okay? I've been on the stage where I don't know what's going to happen. And when I turn on the IG, when I hit live, is that what it says when you hit IG live? When I hit live on IG and I don't know who's going to show up, I don't even know what I'm going to say, but I get on there and I just start talking about things I love, things that are very compelling, like Fitzcarraldo, directed by Werner Herzog. Ever heard of it? Yeah. Klaus Kinski. Probably the wildest hair you've ever seen in your life. I loved it. I can't wait to do it again. The next one, stay tuned.
Talking into the future via the past, I really enjoyed your live stream. We mentioned My Neighbor Totoro. Next week, just around a corner, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Ooh.
Oh.
Some spaghetti Western, they call those movies. We're getting into some hot and heavy movies right here.
Have you seen it, Matt? Have you seen Good, the Bad, the Ugly?
Maybe in my community college days. I might have watched a VHS DVD of it.
I've shared an animated GIF of it, so I've never seen it. You know, the one where they tip their hat? Or no, is that they look back and forth?
Clint Eastwood is like eyeing people up with a gun.
Is that the movie? That's the only thing I know of that movie. Yeah, I think that's the one. And the poster. It's got a good poster.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly fans probably just rolling over in their graves right now hearing Danny talk about that movie.
It's fine.
He's getting like preemptive revenge for any kind of Totoro comments. Not to bring it back to Totoro, real quick, we're going to get into it. There's a nervousness as well in this show right now. I think people are dreading whatever Proto is going to say, whatever I'm going to say. We have a ton of voicemails to get to. I don't want to waste too much time.
Listen, they could be worried about me too, okay?
They know you have a Totoro plushie on your desk. What do they think? You're going to give it 3 stars or something?
Listen, some things I could change my mind, you know?
We have a big announcement, though. Outside of the Proto live improv streams, we are cooking up a plan. You know, you choose and suggest a movie on their Apple Podcast reviews was such a success. We want to open it up again to people to listen to the show to choose a director. We're going to present 3 options. Proto will choose a director. I will choose a director. Danny will also choose one. And then on a Twitter post showing Danny's lovely art for each one, you will vote on the director you want to see us talk about in an episode of 70 Millimeter. It's going to be huge. It might be the biggest thing we've ever done.
Biggest thing in film podcasting.
Yeah, it's never been done. Obviously, this is the first film podcast. So we're the first film podcast, period, to do such an extravaganza. So we'll have a link to our Instagram in the episode notes. So follow us on IG. Keep an eye out for that post where you can vote in the comments. If you follow us on Twitter, etc. Or you can vote also by good old-fashioned voicemail and email. Proto, who is your pick in this large you choose the director process right now?
My pick is Sally Potter, born 1949. Now, something I could do right now is I could tell you the movies that she's made. But I'm going to guess that anyone listening right now has not seen any of her movies. Okay? So what I want to do is tell you why you should pick her. You haven't seen any of her movies. I haven't seen any of her movies. And the reason that I do this show, the reason that I'm here tonight is that I want to experience things new. I want to go into the unknown. I want to be there. I want to feel something. I want to feel it. Now, you out there, I think you want to feel the same thing because you're listening. You're here. We experience that together. So what I'm doing right now is I'm extending my hand to you. I'm offering you my hand. Michael? Melissa? Andy, take my hand. You vote for Sally Potter, and we'll go on this journey together.
Wow. This isn't fair.
This reminds me of what I experienced on that IG Live this future weekend. This is exactly like that.
Yeah.
So like I said, find our Instagram post showing the artwork for each of these three directors and choose your vote in the comments or on Twitter, etc. So let us know who your vote is. That's Proto's pick. My pick, this was really hard. We were talking in our Slack DMs about what directors do we want to choose. We decided to pick all female directors to change it up. And I had it whittled down to two options. This is very difficult for me. I have it between the Wachowskis because I really, really want to do Speed Racer or Cloud Atlas. So, as this happens, whoever gets the most votes will choose a director, will choose their movie. And so I have the Wachowskis in one corner and I'm pretty jacked. And then I find out about Amy Heckerling. Let me just rattle off some movies that Amy Heckerling has directed. See if they ring a bell. Look Who's Talking. European Vacation.
Jeez.
Johnny Dangerously with Michael Keaton. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Clueless. Are you kidding me right now?
These are big.
Amy, that's my pick. I'm going to pause on the Wachowskis for right now. They were in contention. I'm going to pause on that because I'm not sure how often I'll be able to choose between Look Who's Talking, Clueless, and Fast Times as one of my picks. So that's my choice. Vote how you will. I'm not going to give you a song and dance. Amy Heckerling, there you have it. Danny, who's on your list?
So as we were talking, you brought up Penny Marshall.
Oh.
And right when you said that, I thought about A League of Their Own. And I grew up on that movie. My sister and I watched it
sweating
so much. I don't care. I'm not even looking at it around. Look at me, Matt. I'm not looking at Proto right now. Dale's looking at me from the booth.
Yeah.
Listen, not only that, big Tom Hanks, another one.
Oh my God.
Not only that, riding in cars with boys.
Is that real?
Drew Barrymore.
Drew?
God.
Listen, The Preacher's Wife.
Oh.
Denzel.
Renaissance Man. We have solid choices.
Yeah.
No one can go wrong with either of us.
It's a win either way.
It's a win, but pick me.
I will I will say that Proto's pick, Sally, we did look at her library.
Oh.
I just want to say one thing. I'm not trying to shift it. I feel like I'm going to shift it in Proto's favor here right now. But there is a poster to a movie that is one of the most intriguing movie posters I've ever seen. That's all I'm going to say.
Look it up for yourself.
Look it up for yourself. Rock the vote when this official post is up. We want to hear what you think, who you want to hear a movie podcast about, one of these three fantastic directors. In doing the research for those directors, we found a bunch of lists on Letterboxd, and Letterboxd is our favorite social media site. It's how we log all the movies we watch. It's how we do our reviews, how we follow each other. It's our favorite site. And each week, if you share the show on social media, on Twitter or IG, and tag us, you're entered to win a year of Letterboxd Pro. Letterboxd is free in general, but this is no ads. You get a ton of customization for lists, for your history, watching movies, etc. And this week's winner, Gary Mason.
There you go.
Gary, you did it. You got a free year of Letterboxd Pro. If you're already a Pro member, you get another year.
Congrats, Gary.
So it doubles up. Gar. Big Gar. Fred, you watch any movies this week?
Yeah, I did. I completed something that's been on my list for a long time. I watched Tron.
Oh.
And then I watched Tron Legacy.
Wow.
Yes.
Weekend double feature.
Wow.
I was concerned because a lot of people were saying Dune is a good movie. Good movie from the 80s. Good sci-fi flick. You should check it out. You'll like it. Yeah. Not so much. So I was concerned when those same people were saying the same things about Tron. Well, I was pleasantly surprised. Tron is a very strange movie. I could see people go either way, loving or hating it. I loved it. It looks amazing still to this day. It's unlike any other movie I've seen in its appearance. If you like sci-fi, I think it's worth checking out if you've never taken the dip because of, the fear of, what could come if you could get duned. So
the Dune fear is always palpable.
Yep.
I haven't seen Dune. I don't think I've ever seen Dune. Or not Dune. Who can say if anyone's really seen Dune? But I'm not sure if the last time I saw Tron. I've seen Tron Legacy. Man, can you ever talk about the Tron Legacy without someone talking about that soundtrack beating down your throat? How many people right now are probably, oh man, that great soundtrack.
Even the remix, the D-Res'd album.
Okay, all right, enough. What did you watch this week, Danny?
So in the back of my head, we chatted, a couple episodes ago, I think we brought up talking about rom-coms, and someone had said Mystic Pizza. And I fired it up this week because I've been thinking about it a lot because I don't know, it's kind of stuck with me. I had never seen it. I know it's, I don't know if it's Julia Roberts' first, but one of her breakouts, I think. And it's a great movie. It's a great little movie. It's got it focuses on the three waitresses working at Mystic Pizza, and they all have three different love stories happening at once. And, I love it. I think Julia Roberts is amazing in it. She has that infectious laugh that just makes you fall in love with her. Mm-hmm. It's like giggles she does. Vincent
D'Onofrio.
I can't say, yes, D'Onofrio's in it. He's a vision. Amazing in that movie. It's just good. I love that movie.
I'm not sure if I've ever seen him in a movie where he's not some kind of creepy psycho.
No, he's not. He's young. So young in this. Made me really want pizza.
Are we going out to get pizza? I watched a bunch this week, and maybe I'll just focus on... So Art left a voicemail a couple episodes ago, and his recommendation was Blue Ruin from the director of The Green Room. I did watch Blue Ruin. I thought it was pretty good. It's a very kind of independent, low-budget revenge movie. I thought it was very realistic, so you could kind of see the seeds for what would happen in The Green Room. I also watched Death Proof again for the first time, maybe since I saw it in theaters. Quentin Tarantino's Grindhouse homage. My 2-word review on Letterboxd is foot porn. There's, you ain't seen nothing yet. You thought it was something in that Hollywood movie he did Once Upon a Time. Whew. X-rated. Tell you what.
My goodness.
Kurt Russell's a vision in that movie, though.
I like to think that when Tarantino is thinking of a new movie, he has just a vision board of just like different feet. And like he starts there, like, all right, I want to get a shot of someone, licking someone's toes from this angle. How can I fit this into a movie? And then he goes from there.
Should we get into it right now? My Neighbor Totoro, famous animated film, Miyazaki, 1989. 1989, this movie was made, first of all. This is year Batman came out. My Neighbor Totoro, everyone loves it. Will we? Proto, what's this movie about?
My Neighbor Totoro is when reality becomes dreams. Close your eyes and tell me, what is your first memory of your mother? When was the last time you woke up and you didn't know the time of day or where you were? What was the last emotion you felt for the first time when you didn't have a name for it? We are all children, feeling joys and fears that defy our understanding. We are all Satsuki and Mei, meeting the world as it comes upon us. Hopefully, you have a neighbor to help you along the way.
Wow. When was the first time you saw this movie, Danny?
I saw it as a kid. I say kid. I was probably elementary school. I guess that's kid age. Elementary, middle.
5 years into your relationship with your wife, Casey.
Yeah. old VHS I remember flopping around. The Fox Studio dubs, not Disney. And I loved it as a kid. I think we lost the VHS. I didn't watch it until recently again, years ago. But it's one of those movies that if it's raining outside, I want to put it on instantly. It's a good rainy day movie. It's for me, it's an amazingly animated, beautiful film. And I am eternally inspired by this film. Every time I watch it, there's something new I take from it as an artist. And it just sticks with me for a while after I watch it. And this movie it means the world to me. And I watch it often. And I've since shown my kids it. They love it as well. I mean, it's easy because I have daughters. So I think they see their playfulness in Mei and Satsuki. It's a beautiful film. I really love it.
You mentioned the Fox dubs. So there are two different versions of dubs. There's like 1995 and then what is it, like 2007 or something?
Yeah, when Disney redubbed it with famous actors.
Tim Daly, Superman's voice. That's what jumped out at me. He does the voice of the dad.
Yeah, and Dakota and her sister.
Yeah, it was crazy to me.
Both do the sisters.
Dakota Fanning and her sister. What an amazing casting. What are the chances of that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Proto, had you ever seen this movie before?
I had seen it before. I saw it for the first time, I want to say 2 years ago. Miyazaki movies, something that's always been on my radar. I probably saw my first one like 10 or 12 years ago when I was probably just out of high school. I think I saw is Howl's Moving Castle, that's one of his, right? I think I saw that, and then like Kiki's Delivery Service. And then I had a coworker who was really into I asked him his favorite movie and he looked at me dead eye and said, Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
So I watched that. And then 2 years ago, I always wanted to see My Neighbor Totoro. And I got it from the library, brought it home and watched it with my two kids. And they were transfixed by it, as was I, for the 90 minutes. It was a spring day. It was like April or May that we watched it. And it was a magical experience watching it with my kids for the first time. I think there is obviously a connection that people have with this when they're young seeing it. And, I'm a father, I'm an adult watching it, but being able to watch it with my kids was really special.
Yeah. I was asking in our private Slack, how old everyone was that had seen it. I was just curious what the range was of the first time seeing it, how old you were, kind of like where you were in life. So the overall thread of the movie is this family is moving into a new house. The young girls, the sisters are kind of investigating the house, and their mother is ill and is not at the house yet. She hasn't moved in. She has kind of like a history of illness. So the young girls, one of the youngest comes upon, these kind of mystical creatures, like animal-like beings, and the largest one being Totoro. And the adults don't see the character, but eventually the character reveals itself to the oldest sister. It's just kind of them interacting with these characters, and then they find out the mother might be sick again, so she can't come home. So it causes the youngest daughter to run away. And the oldest daughter needs the help of Totoro to find her and bring her back home. And that's the whole plot of the movie. So my first viewing of this, I don't know if they're matte backgrounds, but the backgrounds of this movie are unreal. Every scene in the background, I was just gawking at. It's so beautiful. Like you don't really see that anymore.
Yeah.
You don't see 2D animation really anymore, but this was something else. 1989.
Yeah, they're all hand watercolor backgrounds. And each one is an individual scene painted as well. And even Miyazaki himself, which is why I feel like he sets himself apart from a lot of the animators. He sits there, he'll hand draw easily thousands of the cells for his own movies. The artistry that goes into these films nothing stands next to them, in my opinion. Disney has amazing matte background paintings, etc. They have a Renaissance era for Disney, but there's something about how Miyazaki's movies with the cells of the animated characters and how well they fit in with the backgrounds that it always seems so seamless. Like it's not like they're set apart as much as you see in like Disney movies where it's a still background. Like there's something always kind of foreground, background. There's always a way that he's fit these characters in that these movies are, it's magical.
The intro to the girls to the new house. I love the house. I want to move into that house. Oh. But they're running around the house for the first time and around the house. Just the running animation of the girls, I was like so stunned by. Like how long did it take these animators to animate these girls running in that way? It was so beautifully done, the animation in those scenes.
There's a lot of really cool things that I like that Miyazaki does. Like if you're watching, like there's added bits of animation that are off camera that just don't need to be there, but they happen, and it adds this level of realism to what is happening. So like there's in the very beginning when they're in the truck riding to drop off the moving stuff, and they lean out to talk to their dad, and he turns and the wind kind of starts to blow his hat off and he catches it, but there's no reason for him to do that. But it's such a natural thing to actually happen, like a random instance in the world that it's added in the animation, and it just adds another level to his storytelling.
There was a shot, I think when the girls are opening the doors, they're running around the house barefoot, and she's angling to like pull one of the doors, and like her big toe moves up while she's like pulling, and it was such a realistic movement that like, you're right. Who would think about adding that kind of realism into an animated character?
And it's just little things.
Yeah.
It's little things that make a major difference that you can even look over and watch this movie 10, 20 times and not see them. But when you catch it, it's like why did she trip and fix her shoe? Like, why didn't she just keep running? Like, why did you have to add her coming down a hill and just kind of adjust her shoe real quick? Like, it's just these little things, and it's just his mind, how it works is amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just seems like love that's poured into the craft of making this. Mm-hmm. Like you're saying that it's not even, it's not like it doesn't seem like a job or like it's a production that has to get done. It's like they're in it, doing every part of it to make it something that they would love. And there are so many little touches. Like you said, the house, the whole town, the area, it's like the most enchanted place I've ever seen in my life. I want to live there. The giant tree where the Totoro is just amazing. The little river outside of the house down by the street where she goes down, like she takes the pail at one point, has to get water for the pump. There's just everything that's built. It just gives off a feeling of warmth and joy as you watch it, and peace. It's just so soothing to experience this world that they create.
There was another piece of animation right at the onset. I mean, there's so many things within the first 5 minutes. It felt like 5 minutes, but where the youngest daughter is running around the house. And first of all, I just love their interactions together. It just felt so natural and real. And also credit to the voice acting of Dakota and her sister. It was probably the most realistic young daughters I've ever heard in a movie.
Yeah.
Like it was just legit. And so the youngest daughter gets scared by these like, dust puff creatures that are coming out of the walls that look like spiders. Yeah. And she sees them and she gets scared and she grabs her chest and her fingers like start pulling at her shirt. And that's another thing. Like, I don't want to belabor the point of the animation, but that is insane. Like that realism of a character being scared and the reactions to it physically, it honestly blew me away in that scene. But the relationship with the sisters, the whole movie was tremendous. Just seeing their reactions and stuff together, trying not to be scared, and then eventually having to find the youngest one. Just awesome stuff.
Yeah, that first scene when they're running around the house and Mei is mimicking everything Satsuki does, it makes me smile every time.
Not here. Nothing here. Nothing here. Nope. Nope. Nope.
And she's like, this house is creepy. And she's like, creepy. And she does everything that Satsuki does. It's a beautiful scene. The two interacting with each other, this whole movie, I absolutely love it. And there's some heartbreaking scenes when she gets lost. I mean, I remember because Casey saw it for the first time with me when she watched it with our kids. And when Mei gets lost, she kind of looks at me like, should our kids be watching this? And then it's like her shoes floating in the river. It's the glance. I remember Casey giving me a glance and I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah, I love that scene also in the house where they're running around. The music is so well incorporated into the scene as well. There's like that little and it matches like the pitter patter of their feet as they run through the house. And it's there's so much about the music. As I was watching it, hadn't seen it in a couple of years. I was like, oh, I love this song. And I must have said that like 4 or 5 times because every new tune that came on, I was like, oh, this is my favorite one. I was like, oh no, wait, this is it.
Yeah.
For the main character Totoro being like I knew nothing of this movie, except for just how I viewed Spirited Away that I saw many years ago. And I thought Totoro was going to be more of a main character, but it's not really. It's just the sisters and the family. Totoro, comparatively, is barely even in the movie, which was surprising to me.
Yeah, and so he's supposed to represent the forest spirits. And Miyazaki actually created... He's not based off of anything. It's his own design for the movie, but it's to represent the old Japanese forest spirits that they would pray to and stuff like that for protection. And so that's why he kind of appears and disappears. He's there for them when they need them, or like at the bus stop. It's like Mei's sleeping on her back, but she's there alone in the rain. So Totoro goes up next to her, and it's like, of course he does. He's just a big giant teddy bear. I just want to hug him every time he does that. It's like, it's subtle. It's like she needed someone next to her to stand with her in the rain, and Totoro was there.
Right.
I mean, it's so beautiful. And when he's making the raindrops on the umbrella, the animation of his hair standing up gets me every time, because it's so you can feel that in the animation. Like you can feel the sound of the raindrops, and then you feel his fur. Like it gives you like this emotion to watch it happen.
One of my notes was, man, if my son met me at work with an umbrella, knowing that I forgot my umbrella, like I would turn into a puddle instantly. I couldn't believe it.
I love the dad so much in this movie, and I think I realize it more now how much I love the portrayal of him, because there's so many scenes where I would react pissed off at these kids being ridiculous as I'm trying to carry a heavy ass credenza in the house, moving in, and they're running around my feet. I would absolutely lose my mind. But there's like this there's this amazing calmness to him and his understanding of them, and he's written so well. I love him so much in this movie.
Yeah, he's the dad I want to be. There's this scene where Mei first encounters Totoro, and she's in the woods, and she's like, he's over here, like we gotta go this way, and he climbs in, and I'm just thinking like the whole time I'd be like, oh, that's cool, all right, well, we gotta start dinner, you can tell me about it while I'm making dinner, let's go, come on, let's go back. And he's like, oh yeah, I bet there is. And he speaks so slowly, and he's just in their world. She's like, man, I suck.
It's also a very rare portrayal of a father in a movie, you know? I feel like for Americans, we're so used to the dad flying off the handle or something in our films. I can't imagine actually growing up with that as a major film in my culture and seeing that as a father portrayed to me.
Tim Daly, knocking it out of the park.
He was a great choice.
My God. During this process, the Totoro, reveals herself to the eldest daughter at the train station, and they have like this kind of dream ish scenario where they're having fun with Totoro. They're growing, what are they growing? Plants? Are they growing more mini trees? What are they growing?
At the bus stop, Totoro hands her the little gift bag of acorns. And so she plants the acorns to grow for when her mom returns. And so they're not growing. So her wish is to ask the Totoro to help them grow. And that's when he comes to her in their dreams. And that's probably my favorite scene in the movie. I love the animation, and that's the music alone, and the animation of that tree coming out of the ground is next level. I mean, it's such a powerful moment. And it's one of those, like, it's kind of, I don't know if it's pivotal for the movie, but it just looks great. It feels great. It's a powerful scene.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene too. The trees growing and just the dance that they do.
Yeah.
And just the way they interact with Totoro. They can't communicate through words, but he's doing this little dance with the umbrella. So they start doing it as well. And I love all the moments of them screaming. Like the one thing that Totoro does is he yells. And then, he yells, and it's actually pretty shocking how loud it is. And his mouth, it's huge. But the girls love it. And they yell as well, as loud as they can. So the fact that they can communicate in that way, and then they wake up the next morning and we saw these giant trees grow, but they go out and there's just these little sprouts in the ground and they're ecstatic and they're just running around like, it's real. He did make it grow, but it's well, there's no giant tree there. But that's not really the point, is that, there was magic in the fact that they planted them yesterday and now there's sprouts out of the ground. It's just, it just makes you feel so good.
Can we talk about the testicles on the cat bus?
I did not catch those. I totally missed it. But now,
are you serious?
Yeah, I didn't notice them. My God. Proto, did you see
catch
them?
them, Proto?
I did not catch that.
Am I Googling cat bus testicles right now?
There's a point where it's running across the power lines and it jumps and spreads its legs. And every time I'm staring right at those cat testicles.
Oh, wow.
I mentioned in Slack about how I was trepidatious about watching this movie, and Dale, show producer, now host of Bat and Spider with Chuck Forsman, mentioned wait until you get to the bus made out of, animal or whatever. Oh. So I was dreading it, but it actually wasn't as Studio Ghibli freak out-ish for me. I felt it was fine in this movie, and it kind of eventually leads to them getting news that the mother is not returning home as planned. And there's a scene where the eldest daughter is openly asking what happens if mom dies or something like that. I thought that was very deeply moving in this movie. It was just a very forward question from a young girl that you don't really see in animated films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And eventually leads to the young daughter running away because of it.
Yeah. There's a touch of a little autobiographical moments of this for Miyazaki's life, because he was raised with his brothers, but his mom had tuberculosis. And I think that's what they're hinting at the mother has in this movie. Miyazaki's mom had spinal tuberculosis, and she lived, I think, almost 9 years in a hospital, if I remember correctly. Jeez. I can't remember. That could be wrong. So a lot of their time was spent traveling from home to hospital to visit her. So I think there's a little bit of touch in that. I think this was a very real movie for him to make. The reason they move in the beginning is to move to a house closer to the hospital. I think there's a novelization of this movie that I've dabbled in, and that's one of the reasons. There's a little bit of Miyazaki's real life in this film. And this comes before Spirit and Princess Mononoke as well.
Right.
The first time I saw this, I think I was just taking it in and experiencing it and not really trying to figure much out about it, because I don't even feel like you really need to. You can just really enjoy it for what it is. But watching it this time, I think I had time to reflect on what kind of like what meaning it has and what you could, pull out of it. And kind of what Danny is saying of a child dealing with something like that, of a parent dying, seems to be really the message that comes across of a child having these really heavy, weighty experiences that they have no way of, they have no context for, nothing to relate them to anything else. I'm just even thinking of like a 4-year-old, a 4-year-old with a mother in a hospital, not really understanding. And then your older sister saying that like she could die, that weight. And then also the weight of Satsuki trying to care for her younger sister and then also go to school. It's just so much for a child to deal with. And to me, one of the messages of this movie is like the power of imagination and the safety that you can find there. That as you watch this movie, you can see that like every scene that happens with Totoro happens like right before they fall asleep, or there's something going on in and out of consciousness where it almost opens a door to say that like this is really all happening in their imagination, that it's not really real. And it's their way of coping with the cards that they're dealt right now, of dealing with their mother being in a hospital. Of course, like none of that matters. It's just beautiful for what it is. But having like that idea of the imagination and the power that it can give even a child at that age is really beautiful.
So then eventually the youngest daughter is found with the help of the cat bus, and thankfully they are not dead at the bottom of that pond, as was theorized by probably not just Casey, but also myself. How about the boy that is in this movie, the other neighbor? Did you catch how he was riding that bike?
Oh, that like
side
pedal.
saddle? Is that even physically possible? My God, that kid is a pro.
It's like a gear type thing where you just have to kind of push it forward, get it going.
He gets a raw deal this whole movie, though. Poor kid.
He does. There was a whole subplot that was maybe missing for this poor boy.
The look the teacher gives him when she smacks him on the head with a book.
How about when he hides the fact that he lent his umbrella to this girl from his mother, and she's like railing on him for losing it again. God, if I was that parent, I would have probably started crying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like you were doing this nice thing and I was bashing you. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I want that mom in prison.
I just know every time I see this, I want to live in that village.
Yes.
I want to be in that field planting crap up to, I don't even know what it's, rice field. I just want to be a part of that. That community was like all hands on deck when they needed them. They're bringing food over. The granny's just cleaning their house, helping them out. I mean, gosh.
Those cucumbers that they eat?
Oh my gosh. I hate cucumbers, but I wanted those cucumbers.
Are we?
Is there some kind of like Lord of the Rings version of this where the town exists that everyone goes to visit and like, praise at?
They're making that park, the Ghibli Park.
Where's that at?
Japan.
Are we going to Japan?
I think they're even putting it on like a national park property. So it's already going to be a beautiful area.
That's cool.
I know they have the house, the house built of the family, Satsuki and Mei's family. That house exists in, I think it's a little outside of the Ghibli Museum in Japan. You can visit it.
I want a house where I can just slide over these large windows and your house is now like,
My
open.
gosh.
That's a little bit tiny house action, but in a larger home, that's the dream right there. Holy cow.
I love that house so much.
I need a tiny house up in the mountains somewhere with high-speed internet. Any other thoughts before we get to our ratings on My Neighbor Totoro?
I actually have no notes. I didn't put anything down. I knew I could talk about this movie forever. I think, like I said, every time I watch this movie, I get something else out of it. I love what Proto said when it comes to the I mean, everything in this movie is more situational than plot driven. Their imagination is amazing, is what drives this movie. The animation of Totoro and the cat bus and the smaller Totoros. And it's not only like the imagination of the kids bringing Totoro, it's the imagination of Miyazaki being able to create this kind of movie. Mm-hmm. And then to know what he creates after this. I mean, his mind is, it makes me jealous of what he can create like that. The scenes where Satsuki is running, the sunsets that are behind her are some of the most beautiful scenes in any animated film. So for me, this is always going to be a 5-star film. I know it sits somewhere a top 20 family film of all time on IMDb. I think I saw. So it's a perfect movie.
Never heard of that website you just mentioned.
Sorry,
but I've heard of Letterboxd.
It's just a new up and coming IMDb site.
Yeah, you're right. This is always in the top lists. When we talked about doing this movie, everyone was tripping over themselves, commenting how they loved it. We have a bunch of voicemails to get to from people as well. Everyone was nervous about what my thought was going to be. I was going to trash it or whatever. It's definitely not my kind of movie. I don't want to do air quotes, not for me, but I am keenly aware that this is an amazingly made film. It's hard to explain. Like, I didn't love this movie, but I can respect what it is and how people perceive it. This is probably a 3.5-star movie for me, but as I'm watching it, I kind of like get it. Like, I get why people love this. I get why they connect to it, but for whatever reason, that connection just didn't happen with me for my first viewing. That might change in a few years, but for whatever reason, it's a good movie. I know that the majority of people that see this movie, like even the scale on Letterboxd, there's like barely anyone before 3.5 stars, and it's like all 4.5 to 5. So that's me. That's my rating.
My favorite aspect of this movie is the way that they capture the interactions of a child. There's so many scenes with so many believable moments between the sisters, the way they talk, the way they experience things, the way they react. It's just amazing, those moments. There's a funny Letterboxd review. I think it's like the most liked Letterboxd review, where it like gives this list of all the things this movie doesn't have that are in a traditional movie. Like, there's no plot, there's no this, and it says, but it's a 5-star movie, and that is kind of true. Like, it is lacking like a lot of stuff. It feels but I love it. It's amazing, man. I don't know. I want to just give it the reaction I initially had to it. Like, when I saw this for the first time, it was like pure magic, a 5-star movie. I feel like maybe I'm pulling back from that a little bit, but I'll give it 5 stars because I think it is. I think it is really special. I don't know. Yeah, it's really hard to say, but what's it matter? It's just a stupid rating from me. One man.
What's it matter?
Don't lock yourself up to these world of ratings, Proto. Let yourself breathe.
Gosh, are we doing another Miyazaki movie now?
Are we? What's this Mononoke about? What's the play? Is that a Mononoke finger?
God.
What is that?
That's my mask back there. My Mononoke mask.
Oh my God. I like going into these movies not knowing anything about them. It's been an unbridled treat for me.
For me, I think Mononoke is my favorite. I love it.
Proto, have you seen
It's got some great scenes.
Yeah, I've seen Mononoke. It'll blow your brains right out. Because it's
next level.
It's different.
It's not wild like it doesn't feel like Spirited Away at all. I know your thoughts on that.
Is that going to be a Patreon exclusive bonus special edition?
Double VHS.
Since the Patreon doesn't exist, maybe it'll still just be a freebie.
Yeah, there you go. Mononoke and Nausicaa are my 2 solids.
Okay.
Anyway, Totoro's a beautiful thing. I'm glad we got to enjoy this together.
Yeah, I'm glad I watched it too. We have several Totoro-themed voicemails to get to, which you can leave us at 267-409-6983, or send an audio file, which you can use the Audio Memos app on your iPhone or recorder on Android, to 70mmpod@gmail.com.
Hey guys, it's Melissa, aka your friend Chuck's better half. This is kind of weird because I've we've never actually talked, but I feel like I know you guys already. But I love the podcast, and I'm super excited you're going to do My Neighbor Totoro, because my sister and I grew up obsessed with that movie. We're kind of really similar to Satsuki and Mei, as I was older and kind of more serious and like stubborn, I guess. And my sister is younger and always demanding attention. Yeah, and I was just obsessed with everything in that movie, and especially their bathtub and the food, but definitely the bathtub. I still think about it all the time. I also wanted to say that it would be amazing if you guys did a rom-com episode like you talked about.
Yes.
Yes.
But I feel like Four Weddings and a Funeral is not a good movie.
Thank you.
But Moonstruck
Oh.
maybe the greatest movie of all time.
Wow. Wow.
I watch it every Christmas. So that would be amazing if you guys watched that. Although I don't know if I could handle it if Proto didn't like it. Anyway, love the podcast. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Moonstruck is Cher and Nicolas Cage.
Dynamism.
Thank you for the voicemail, Melissa. You can find her on IG at Mel Mendez with 3 M's in the middle. She left a note in her email as well. She said, my favorite line from Fast and Furious is when Vince sees Brian at the sandwich shop and says something like, what is he, some kind of sandwich freak? Shoot. She posted an IG story about her and Chuck watching Fast and Furious, Chuck's first time ever.
Oh, he's hooked.
I think he's hooked. I think we did it.
Sick. Never seen anything
System
like
works.
it. Doesn't make any sense.
They might be watching Too Fast, Too Furious right now as we record.
Thank you, Melissa.
All right, let's see what else we got here.
How's it going, guys? This is Sean from Colorado, reaching out to you for another wonderful week. Hoping that everybody's doing all right and everybody's staying safe. This week's movie, I believe you guys are talking about, I got it wrong last week, but this week's is My Neighbor Totoro. I just want to say I love this animation. I love this movie. It is fantastic. Just recently watched it again, but for the first time with my girlfriend. It was the first time she had ever seen it. She loved it. I love the detail with everything in the story, right down to on Cat Bus, the tail lights and the top lights are rats with their red glowing eyes. I thought that was so awesome. Like just that tiny little detail there. The story is phenomenal. Everybody loves Totoro. Everybody goes and searches for acorns. Everybody's all about growing the trees and growing the family and getting everything back together and back to the way it was. Just phenomenal. Can't wait to hear you guys talk about it. Just want to say real quick, Danny, loved watching you on Twitch today while you were working on some Ahsoka. Proto, so happy you chimed in during the Twitch feed as well. That was so awesome to see you on there. I do have one question for you guys. How do you guys do your recording? Do you guys all live in Orlando, or do you guys do this over like a video chat so you can see each other's facial reactions? Like, how does this work? Just want to get a little insight into the 70mm pod, see how things are. But anyways, love you guys. You guys are doing great. Look forward to hearing from you guys every single week, which is awesome. Keep it up and take it easy. Bye.
Thank you, Sean.
Can we talk about Danny's Twitch for just one minute? This guy has figured out Twitch in maybe 24 hours. I've never seen anything like it.
Let's be real. Everyone's probably already heard about it because it's just blowing up that big right now.
Oh my God. I got to add a note in the episode notes like he's Danny's Twitch now. It's flying off the charts. He's doing Ahsoka today, hi-ho time in chat. And I don't say this to trump up Danny's rear end any higher, but there's some kind of Bob Ross connection with the way you talk in that mic while you're drawing that you're hitting something very special. I think people could just have that on all day long.
I talked about it today. I think it's because I am not actually talking to people, but I am. So I'm talking to you guys, and my voice is different than my Twitch. So I don't hear audible return when I'm talking to people.
Right.
So it's interesting. I just talk how I would talk to myself while I work too. So I usually just whisper to myself. If Sean only knew how much of a compliment that was to you and your editing capabilities of this podcast.
Thank you, Sean. No, we actually are not all in Orlando. I'm in near Philadelphia. Twitch. Proto is in New Jersey. And Danny's in Orlando. We're actually, right now, we used to use Skype. Now we're using Zoom. It's a little bit less of a computer-intensive resource, at least on my end. So that's a plus. And then we record all locally, and then we put it all together, and the magic happens. You know?
Yeah.
God bless Sean. I'm just glad he didn't watch
13 Ghosts?
what's that movie it's on our list? Hidden
Mortal Engines.
Mortal Engines. Just glad I didn't watch Mortal Engines again.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner. Stay tuned. Next voicemail.
What up, 70 millimeter? Caleb calling. I hope Proto has him some chocolates tonight so that he's not in a venomous rage like he was last week, and you know how he gets sometimes. So hope he's got some chocolates. Totoro, told my wife I was going to watch this movie because you guys were doing it for the podcast. One of her favorite movies. That turned into a whole thing. Wasn't the original version, the one we had on DVD, and so she had to order the VHS and turn into a whole thing. So thank you guys for that. I enjoyed the movie. It was okay. Glad I watched it, but probably would never watch it again. Anyways, love you guys. Love the podcast. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Caleb.
Yeah, we didn't really get into the controversy of the multiple versions of this.
Mm-hmm.
There's multiple dubs that lines are drawn.
You either watch the Japanese with subtitles or you learn Japanese, one or the other, or you watch the original Fox dubs, or you watch the dubs Disney did after Fox.
And the Disney dubs are regarded as like exponentially better than the Fox dubs. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Just because Disney forked out money for actual solid actors, which I actually gripe about now, but it's kind of funny. If you're watching, I don't think there's a bad version of this movie. I think it's what you know is what you're going to be your favorite.
Yeah, one of our friends shared a VHS box art. Maybe it was Caleb.
Yeah, it was Caleb.
That box art was something else. I think Tim O'Thief called it house art, house style, but it definitely felt that way.
It's definitely house style. It's definitely not a Miyazaki created piece.
Next voicemail.
Hey, this is Brian calling in about My Neighbor Totoro. What a great film, Studio Ghibli. I think I first saw it in Japan with my friend Phil and Jen. First time I saw it was in Japanese with subtitles. But as soon as I had children, which was a couple of years later, I had to introduce them to it. And this is my oldest daughter, Emma.
My Neighbor Totoro it's funny and ridiculous. One of my favorite parts is when the girls and Totoro are just standing in the rain waiting for a bus.
And this is my other daughter, Eleanor.
I liked the movie because Totoro and all the other little baby Totoros are adorable. So, yeah.
Thanks, guys. We really love the podcast, and this is a movie that's truly amazing and a work of art. Are you guys watching it with Disney? What's it called? The Disney voices, the Disney dub with the Fannings, L and Dakota Fanning are the daughters. Is it a little weird that the daughters are taking a bath with their dad? Or is that just culture at the time? Did everyone die in this movie? Thanks, guys. Again, this is Brian, Emma, and Eleanor saying goodbye.
Bye!
Oh my God, that was adorable.
What a voicemail.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Unbridled love for Totoro from those kids.
I forget, there was maybe a couple years ago, someone went in on saying how dark Totoro was. I think it's a Reddit thread, and how they're talking about how actually everyone is dead in this movie, etc. I mean, I read it and then I closed the tab because I was like, you guys are out of your damn mind.
You don't want to sully your view.
Yeah, there's a whole dark side of people trying to tell some dark tale of this movie. What's really being told. I'm like,
is Totoro the Grim Reaper? You heard it here first. After the subreddit.
The tile work in that bathroom, my God.
Jeez Louise. I'm telling you, that
see
house.
why Melissa wanted that bathroom.
That's a $500,000 tiny house. Easily in the United States of America.
That property it's on?
Brian actually also does a podcast. Brian and Gio made a podcast at Brian and Gio on Twitter. FYI. I did take a screenshot of the bath scene as well. Probably part of the culture around that time, admittedly.
It has to be. I mean,
yeah. Let's get into the next audio file.
Hello, guys. It's me again, Paul. I'm calling, leaving another message about the upcoming episode concerning My Neighbor Totoro. I'm a big fan of pretty much everything that comes out from Miyazaki Studio Ghibli. This one is pretty special. I've seen it actually twice, maybe 3 times. I think it's a wonderful film. I think it's beautifully animated. I think that the story is so simple, but it's really, emotionally complex. It made me feel a lot of things, especially now as a father, seeing the overarching story, which is sort of in the background for a lot of the film about the mother being sick and the daughters trying to deal with that while also finding out about this imaginary or not imaginary fantasy world in their backyard. I mean, it's just a wonderful film. I loved it. I will watch it again. And one day when my daughter is old enough to enjoy it, we will watch it together. Right now, she'd probably lose interest. So Slim mentioned that he hated Spirited Away. I liked it. I did. I need to watch it again. But that one was really hyped up for me before I watched it. Obviously, it's like Academy Award-winning, world-changing animated film in a lot of people's eyes. For me, it's not my top 3 for Miyazaki. It's not above a lot of his other films. I do enjoy it, don't get me wrong, but I do think it's a little overrated. For me, my personal favorites are Castle in the Sky and Princess Mononoke, 2 very different films. If I was to recommend one, though, for the 70mm crew, it would be Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. I think you guys would enjoy that. And it does have Sir Patrick Stewart voicing in the English dub. Check it out. Hope you guys enjoyed My Neighbor Totoro and look forward to hearing you guys talk about it. Ciao.
Paul Shirley. God bless.
God bless.
Am I watching Princess Mononoke tonight before I go to bed?
You know what? Him rattling off some of those, it just reminded me that I saw Ponyo. I think I saw Ponyo in theater.
Yeah.
That's a different movie. That's the thing about these movies. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get. You might get, in My Neighbor Totoro, you might get a movie that you think is made for preschool. You never know.
Ponyo's not up there for me, but George, my youngest son, absolutely loved Ponyo. There was a stretch where we watched it quite a bit.
Never even heard of that movie. I'm in a whole new world right now. I'm up in that tree in this dream sequence, and I'm attaching myself to Totoro's chest.
This is a dazzling place.
Listen to the voice cast of Nausicaa real quick.
Give it to me.
Patrick Stewart, Uma Thurman, Shia LaBeouf, Edward James Olmos, Mark Hamill, Jodie Benson.
Hamill to God.
It's great. I think Claire Danes is the voice of Mononoke, if I remember correctly.
What? Wait, I thought you hated actors being cast as...
Listen,
voice actors,
this is a different world.
Friend.
It's a different world.
Okay. Okay.
Which Danny are we getting tonight?
You never know. Let's see. Let's keep rolling here.
Hello.
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 Hello, it's Dirk Feelgood and Betsy Feelgood. And we watched My Neighbor Totoro today, didn't we? What did you think of it?
We liked it so much. We went to Rapunzel and Totoro, and there was a cat butt and there's cat butts and big floppy things. They were the spirits of the forest. And there were some things and the cat bus turned invisible. And there were 2 children that were girls. All the things were girls. And the mum was at the hospital. and because she got really poorly, and she couldn't come home this week just because of a cold. But she's coming home. But at the end, we in the song, we saw her come home, and the children's dad saw her, and they picked some. There was Granny was the mother. There was an old lady who used to live in that house, and she said, "Oh, don't worry, Daisy, you can just call me Granny." And there was another boy, and the other girl, the other boy was shy, talking to girls, and one bit, he said, and he was worried because he was in his underpants outside, and these two girls were coming, and I said, then he went inside. Bye, love you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. Is that the greatest voicemail in show history?
Holy cow.
Wow.
She brings up a good point. Did you guys catch in the credits? The mom comes home. They have another baby son, I think.
Oh, I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, the credits keep showing like a couple little shots.
Movie wrap up.
If you visit the Ghibli Museum, there's an extra animated film that they have only shown in the museum, and it's of May and the Totoros.
What?
You can only see it if you go to the theater there in the museum.
Oh my
Never
gosh.
been leaked. I mean, that I know of.
Great voicemail from Dirk and Betsy.
Oh my gosh.
You guys
Betsy.
are welcome anytime
Betsy Feelgood.
to leave voicemails. Final voicemail this week.
Hey guys, it's Catcher. Just catching up on the Fast and the Furious episode. And Proto, listen, this is for you. just me and you. It's just me and you. Nobody else in the room. Just me and you.
Taking my headphones
Don't
off.
log that BFG thing, man. That's not cool. That's not cool. You need to respect the review, you know? And respect the artwork. Like, maybe the one scene that you've slept through unlocked the wonderfulness that was the BFG. I mean, it's not likely. It's likely it's bad. Give the movie the respect it deserves. Give it a fair shake. Let it shake out properly. I don't know what that means. Just, you don't bring that kind of karma on your life. You don't deserve it. You're better than that. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
That is a very touching voicemail. Does compound the disturbing feelings around this movie, though. It's like everyone's possessed by this film in some way, very dark way.
It did sound like he was possessed a little bit by some kind of presence.
I feel like I'm the protagonist of some kind of worldwide conspiracy where everyone else is infected and I'm the only one who's not. And I have to save the world by speaking truth, healing one soul at a time.
Do you think it could be demonic?
Oh my God. Can you guys still see me? My monitor just went out. What's going on? Oh, you're back.
I can see your monitor in your glasses, okay? Don't mess with me. This isn't stuff to be trifled with.
This isn't Ghost Adventures.
Seriously. What a show. Great show this week. Totoro.
Amazing.
Bringing the 70 millimeter community together like never before. Can you imagine? We haven't seen Danny's art yet for this episode. Can you imagine? Imagine it right now.
Cat testicles.
Am I leaving in you talking about cat testicles and then get a DM from Casey talking about how you're talking about cat testicles?
I need people to realize this is a thing in this movie. I'm surprised no one said anything about it.
I didn't catch it. Usually I'm on the lookout for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Big time.
We got 3 kids calling into the show. You're talking about cat testicles.
They know.
That's a good potential intro audio for Proto. Next week, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I'm so excited.
And real quick, don't forget to be on the lookout for an official social media post for our director options as picked by these hosts. You vote for your pick in the comments or the replies over email. What director do you want to hear an episode about? Our choice. You know what Danny's choice is going to be. He laid it out. It's going to be A League of Their Own. Proto made an impassioned plea for your vote in one of the most awe-inspiring segments in the show's history. And I rattled off just a few of the potential options that I would choose. So the options are laid bare in front of you. Rock the vote. You know, just like P. Diddy said.
Get out and vote.
All right, we'll see everybody next week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. '70mm is produced by Dale_A and sponsored by Half Double Design. Original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance provided by Protolexis. This episode was mixed and edited by me, Slim. Special thanks to the good people at Letterboxd, and for a chance to win a pro Letterboxd account, share the show and tag us on social media at 70mm Pod. Goodbye.